resolve the ongoing conflict, negotiations between delegations of Russia and Ukraine begin in Belarus. The high-level delegations from both sides arrives in Gomel to attempt a negotiated settlement in the ongoing crisis. As the Union government launches Operation Ganga to bring back stranded students and Indian citizens from the conflict-torn Ukraine, sixth flight carrying 240 stranded Indian nationals has departed from Hungary's Budapest for Delhi. In view of hostile situation prevailing, Deputy Chief Minister of Nagaland, Y. Patton, takes the initiatives of providing assistance and aid to the stranded Nagas in Ukraine. Patton asked parents and relatives of stranded Nagas to forward details, Naga Students Federation. Naga Students Federation extends help towards the stranded Nagas in war-torn Ukraine. Ask parents or relatives to provide details of such persons via the numbers 7005305832 and 8974508102 or via email of the grievances cell Naga Students Federation 1947@gmail.com. First phase of Manipur Assembly elections concludes on Monday, with the state witnessing 78.03% voter turnout till 5 p.m. Kangpokpi district reports highest voter turnout of 82.97%. Nagaland government allowed for relaxation of age for entry into government service for a period of additional 2 years. It will be a one-time relaxation due to the COVID-19 pandemic and disruption in recruitment activities on account of the ban of appointments. Hello viewers of Nagaland TV, I'm Rinki Gogoi and welcome to Nltv Primetime News. Let's see more of the news in details. Negotiations between the delegations of Russia and Ukraine to resolve the ongoing conflict between the two countries begin in the Gomel region of Belarus on Monday. Notably, the high-level delegations from both sides arrived at the venue of the banks of the river Pripyat River to attempt a negotiated settlement in the ongoing crisis. According to the office of President Volodymyr Zelensky, the Ukrainian delegations includes the Defense Minister Oleksiy Reznikov and the head of the parliament faction of the Servant of the People Party and a deputy foreign minister, the Russian delegation led by former Minister of Culture Vladimir Medinsky. The office of the Ukrainian president has informed that immediate ceasefire and withdrawal of troops from Ukraine will be the key issues at the talks. Vladimir Medinsky, before the meeting, said that avoiding further loss of lives, Ukraine is certainly interested in reaching some agreements as quickly as possible. These agreements must be, of course, in the interest of both parties. Amidst the ongoing invasion of Ukraine, Russian President Vladimir Putin told his defense chiefs to place nuclear deterrent forces of Russia on high alert. His remarks came after a spate of sanctions over the last few days from countries across the world over the Ukraine war. And however, it is yet to be clear what special mode of combat duty for the nuclear deterrent forces entail. Putin had earlier warned the Western countries not to interfere in the ongoing Russian invasion of Ukraine. He said it could lead to consequences that they have never seen before. Ukraine recorded over 352 civilians deaths, including children, and 1,684 people injured, including 116 children. Meanwhile, according to the UNICEF, tens of thousands of people from Ukraine have crossed borders to escape war, and millions of children are at risk. Notably, as war on Ukraine rages on, an over 5-kilometer-long deployment of Russian forces advancing on Ukrainian capital Kyiv has been noticed. According to the satellite images, show a massive deployment of Russian forces advancing into Kyiv after entering the Ukrainian territory from the Belarusian border. Accordingly, the new satellite images show deployment of Russian ground forces, including tanks, marching towards Kyiv and are approximately 50 kilometers away from the Ukrainian capital. However, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, approximately 5,300 Russian soldiers have lost their lives in the combat during the first 4 days of the invasion of Ukraine by Russia. Moreover, as many as 816 Russian armored personnel carriers, 191 tanks, 29 aircrafts, both combat and transport combined, and 29 helicopters had been destroyed by the Ukrainian forces between February 24 and 27. Indian Embassy in Ukraine has issued a second advisory for the Indian nationals stranded in the Ukraine on Monday and advised them to reach the railway station as the weekend curfew in the city has been lifted. All the students have been advised to make their way to the railway station for onwards journey to the western parts. Embassy through advisory said that the Ukraine Railways is putting special trains for evacuation purpose only. It further urged Indian nationals or students to remain calm, peaceful and united. The advisory also alerted students for the possible delay in trains scheduled, even cancellation at times and long queues. It guided the Indian students to carry their passport, sufficient cash, ready-to-eat meals, easily accessible winter clothing, and only essential items to ensure easy mobility. The embassy also asked Indians to be mindful of their belongings at all times. Considering the critical and dangerous times, embassy has requested to respect the sentiments as well. The 6th Operation Ganga flight carrying 240 stranded Indian nationals has departed from Hungary's Budapest for Delhi. Notably, this was informed by the External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar on Monday. The minister tweeted that the evacuation efforts continue to get stronger. The union government has launched Operation Ganga to bring back stranded students and Indian citizens from the conflict-torn Ukraine. Furthermore, the Indian embassy in Ukraine on Monday informed that the weekend curfew has been lifted in Kyiv. The embassy said that Ukraine Railways is putting special trains for evacuations and advised all the students to make their way to the railway station for a journey to the western parts. As thousands of Indian students stranded in Ukraine try to return home using land routes out of the country, a young woman's video has been widely shared, including by the Congress leader Priyanka Gandhi Vadra. As Russian forces continue their offensive rage in Ukraine, Indian students are being taken to Ukraine's border with Romania, Hungary and Poland by buses, from where they are being flown home by Air India flights. Notably, Garima Mishra, who hails from Uttar Pradesh capital Lucknow, appeared to be in panic as she claimed that no one was responding to her calls for help. In her desperate cry for help, the girl stated that the Russians forced into their shelter places and created disturbances. She further stated that the Russian forces stopped her friends who had gone by bus to the border and fired at the students and just picked up the girls. The girl was all teary as she begged for help.
मैं यूपी लखनऊ से हूँ। हम कीव में स्टक हो चुके हैं, पूरी चारों तरफ से घिर चुके हैं। ठीक है, यहाँ पे हमें कोई हेल्प नहीं दे रहा है और मुझे नहीं लगता कि यहाँ पे किसी को कोई हेल्प, जो भी हमें हेल्प होनी है वो मिलने वाली नहीं है। हमने कुछ वीडियोस देखी हैं, जब अभी थोड़ी देर पहले हम एमबीसी को कॉल्स कर रहे हैं, एमबीसी हमारी कॉल्स नहीं उठा रही है। सेकंड थिंग, हम लोगों को बात करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, हमारा कुछ नहीं हो पा रहा। हम सिर्फ यहाँ पे फंस चुके हैं। जहाँ पे हम रह रहे हैं वहां पे बहुत सारे लोग आते हैं जो कल रात को हंगामा करते हैं, वो गेट तोड़ते हैं, देन उसके बाद अंदर आने की कोशिश करते हैं। क्या होता है हमें कुछ भी नहीं पता, यहाँ पे किसी को कुछ भी नहीं पता जो हमारे साथ सिचुएशन। लेकिन जब अभी कुछ टाइम के बाद हमने सोचा कि हम यहाँ से निकलते हैं और हम यहाँ से किसी तरह निकलते हैं बाई ट्रेन, क्योंकि हम बाई ट्रेन निकले या फिर हम बसेस निकले, कार से निकले। कार से अभी जस्ट मेरे एक दोस्त ने बताया है मुझे कि जो बच्चे यहाँ से निकले हैं कीव से बाई कैब और बाई बस, उनको रशियन आर्मी ने पहले स्टक किया, उन पे फायरिंग करी और उनकी लड़कियों को लेके, उन इंडियंस लड़कियों को लेके गए, पता नहीं कहाँ लेके गए, ये किसी को कुछ नहीं पता, सिर्फ लड़कियों को, और लड़कों का कुछ पता नहीं है। सेकंड थिंग, ये रोमानिया बॉर्डर में अभी हमें वीडियोस मिल रही है, उन वीडियोस में दिखाया जा रहा है कि रोमानियंस आर्मी वहां पे उन्हें मार रही है और उनके साथ बहुत ज्यादा बदतमीजी कर रही है। तो प्लीज, अब कहाँ गए? हम तो मूवीज में देखते थे ना, योगी जी, मोदी जी, जो भी है, प्लीज हम वीडियोस देखते थे ना, हमें बचाया जाता था। ऐसे हमारे अंदर ये रहता था कि हमें बचा लिया जाएगा, बट अभी हमें नहीं लगता कि हमें कुछ बचाया जाएगा। शायद पता नहीं हमारे साथ क्या हो। प्लीज गवर्नमेंट, आप जो भी हो, जहाँ भी हो, प्लीज हमें आगे बचाओ, या फिर आप प्लीज यहाँ पे बाय एयर कुछ भी भेजो, इंडियन आर्मी को यहाँ पे प्लीज भेजो, तभी शायद हमारे साथ कुछ ऐसा हो सकता है कि हम बच सकते हैं। बाकी हमें नहीं लगता कि हम यहाँ पे बचेंगे या फिर हम यहाँ से कहीं जाना हमारे लिए सेफ है, और हम जहाँ पे हैं ये भी हमारे लिए सेफ नहीं है। सो प्लीज, जय हिंद, जय भारत, प्लीज आप हमारी हेल्प करो। प्लीज जो भी सुन रहा है, जो भी देख रहा है, इस वीडियो को शेयर करो।
So this was the SOS video of Garima, where she was seen begging for help and asking the Indian government to help all the Indians stranded in Ukraine. Let's move on to the next news. A number of Indian students attempting to escape war-ridden Ukraine were stopped, harassed and beaten at the country's border with Poland, indicating several videos circulated on social media. Notably, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi, sharing one such video on Twitter, appealed to the government to share their evacuation plans with those stranded. Meanwhile, over 16,000 Indian students are still stranded in Ukraine. Reportedly, many have been made desperate appeals for help, sharing photos and visuals on social media from around underground bunkers and bomb shelters, where they have been sheltering from Russian bombs and missiles. Several Indian students fleeing Ukraine have alleged that they were harassed, beaten by the Ukrainian guards at the Poland border and were not allowed to cross over. The students said that they were kept in an almost hostage-like situation in the freezing cold and denied food, water, shelter or safe passage. They claimed that the border guards were abusing them because of India abstaining on a UNSC resolution against the Russian invasion of Ukraine. With hundreds of Indian students stranded in freezing temperatures at the Ukraine-Poland border, this
from Bangalore, and this is my friend Raksha from Bangalore too. And we have many people who have come from many places of India. We do need rescue help from Indian government, and we cannot see anyone taking a step from any higher officials or Indian government to help us. There's no special flights which have been accommodated for us, and we have been staying in this bunker. It is really hard for all of us. We please request you to send help as soon as possible.
We please request our Indian embassy, our Indian government, please help us out. Please evacuate all Indian students. There are more than 15,000 students who have been stuck in this.
Tibetan spiritual leader the Dalai Lama on Monday expressed anguish over the Ukraine crisis and said that the problems and disagreements are best resolved through dialogue. War is outdated and non-violence and is the way that could solve any war. He said that we have to develop a sense of oneness by considering other human beings as brothers and sisters to build a more peaceful world. Dalai Lama added that genuine peace comes through mutual understanding and respect for each other's well-being, and we must not lose hope. The 20th century was a century of war and bloodshed, but the 21st century must be a century of dialogue. In view of the precarious situations prevailing in Ukraine, the Deputy Chief Minister of Nagaland, Nltv, has taken the noble initiative of providing assistance and aid to the stranded Nagas in Ukraine and to those who fled to Ukraine's neighboring countries to seek refuge. The Deputy Chief Minister has asked parents and relatives of those stranded Nagas to forward details to the office of the Naga Students Federation. The assistance will be provided for their return via contact with the officials of the Ministry of External Affairs and embassies in foreign countries. In view of the precarious situation prevailing in Ukraine, the office of the Naga Students Federation has extended help towards the stranded Nagas in war-torn Ukraine. Notably, the NSF has released a press note wherein it informed all the Naga individuals, students, parents and relatives stranded in Ukraine or currently taking shelter in neighboring countries after having fled the country to provide details of such persons via the numbers 700-530-5832 and 8974508102 or via email of the grievances cell nagastudents1947@gmail.com. Furthermore, the Federation appealed to all the family members and relatives of the stranded Naga individuals to remain calm and immediately get in contact with the office of the Federation by providing the particulars of such persons through the contact details as provided. And further, the Federation has assured that it has been in close coordination with the Nagaland state government to ensure that all possible help and necessary support are extended to those in need or in distress in the evacuation process of our fellow Naga brothers and sisters. Nagaland Home Department on Saturday issued helpline numbers to contact for the stranded people in Ukraine. Family members or relatives have been advised to give details of any persons who may be stranded in Ukraine from Nagaland and who wish to be evacuated. For necessary support and facilitation, one can contact the State Emergency Operations Center, Nagaland State Disaster Management Authority, Home Department at 0370-229-1122 or 229-1120 and can send a mail at seoc.nsdma@gmail.com or sdma.nagaland@gmail.com. Meanwhile, Deputy Chief Minister and Minister in charge of Home, Y. Patton, assured to bring back Nagas stranded in Ukraine by getting in touch with Ministry of External Affairs and embassies in foreign countries. Patton further asked parents and relatives of those who may be stranded to send him details or through the office of the Naga Students Federation. The Nagaland government has allowed for relaxation for the age for entry into government services for a period of additional 2 years. Notably, the Department of Personnel and Administrative Reforms issued the information on Monday through a press release. The memorandum was submitted on 16th July 2021 and according to the memorandum's para 3, the Nagaland government has relaxed 2 years of age with effect from 22nd April 2021. The press release stated that it will be a one-time relaxation due to the COVID-19 pandemic and disruption in recruitment activities on account of ban of appointments. Assam Rifles Training Center and School Shokhuvi will be hosting a attestation parade on 2nd and 4th March 2022. Meanwhile, the attestation parade to be conducted on 2nd March will be for female recruits and on 4th March for the male recruits. For the upcoming parade, the Assam Rifles Training Center and School Shokhuvi has conducted a final rehearsal on Monday. It is to be mentioned that a total of 2,766 recruits passed out with intense training of 11 months, while a total of 836 female recruits have also passed out. However, it is noted that it was the largest female contingent of all.
I'm feeling very honored and privileged to be part of Assam Rifles organization, and also this is the first time that this amount of women are marching this parade in the history of Assam Rifles. So I'm indeed very proud to be part of this parade, and also to see my parents would also be witnessing this parade on 2nd March, and to see them feeling proud of me is the amount of dedication and satisfaction I have been working for this 11 months.
On the very outset, I'd like to say that it's a privilege and honor for me to command the passing out parade of biggest ever Mahila contingent in the history of Assam Rifles, that is 836 Mahila recruits. Personally for me, as a company commander, I saw these recruits as a teenager a year back when they joined this training center, and now after 11 months of rigorous training, it is really heartening for me to see them pass out as combatant soldiers of Assam Rifles. I have been posted in this training center for more than 2 years now, and since then I have been tenanting the appointment of company commander. During the course of training of the recruits, we impart training to build their physical fitness, discipline and
the second batch training of forest guard for the conservation of Hulok gibbon in Nagaland, conducted from February 21 and 22, was commenced, and for altogether 35 forest guards from 10 forest divisions including Dimapur, Kohima, Kiperi, Mokokchung, Longlang, Twensang, Peren, Peg, Woka and Zunheboto attended the week-long residential training. Notably, the training was conducted by Arya Nag in collaboration with Nagaland Forest Department and with support from U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Meanwhile, a field study was carried out at Holongapar Gibbon Wildlife Sanctuary, Assam, for a better understanding of the habitat and behavior of the species. Notably, the training was held at State Environment and Forestry Training Institute, Dimapur, and was inaugurated by M. Shakiba Yimchungar, IFS Director of Safety, Dimapur. Addressing the forest guards trainee from different parts of Nagaland, he said that this type of training is the first of its kind in Nagaland, which will help them to build their capacity for the conservation of biodiversity. A welcome program was organized in Dimapur for the Carnival Support Services India Private Limited by Emporium Carnival Support Services arrived from Mumbai to recruit youths for cruise jobs. During the welcome program, a short speech was delivered by Rajesh Sondrarajan, IAS, Deputy Commissioner, Dimapur. He encouraged youths to have patience and perseverance to achieve their goal. And the Northeast Cruise Job Fair will be commencing on 1st March and conclude on 2nd of March.
And I am also delighted to learn that the Carnival Support Services India Private Limited, they have chosen Dimapur and they have chosen Emporium Nagaland to visit here and then present this opportunity to our young friends, which is, I would say, a very rare opportunity, and not very frequently we keep getting opportunities like this. So I'm delighted to hear that, and I was also happy to learn that this is the first time that a cruise opportunity is being presented to our young students here, which is a very good opportunity for all our young friends here. Just in general, I just wanted to share a few things what is in my mind, and having seen Dimapur and having seen the other districts of Nagaland and also having visited other parts of Northeast in general. There's no, first thing is that there's no dearth of talent here, especially in the Northeast, especially in Nagaland and Dimapur in particular. There's no dearth of talent. But most of the times what happens is that we don't get a platform where talent meets the opportunity. So that is one of, maybe of course, due to a lot of factors like our geographical location, and then since we are still in a nascent stage now of skill development, and then having our sort of private employment in various other private sectors. So we are still in a nascent stage, I would say, when compared to the other states. But I'm very sure, statistically speaking, and then also you also would have seen personally, but we are catching up fast. And
the Nagaland Football Coaches Association NFCA organized a youth team trial for Rajasthan United FC for age groups under 18, under 13, under 15 and under 10 on 28 February at DDSC Stadium, Dimapur. The best ones will be recruited and will be placed in their academy under scholarships. This trial will also be held in Kohima on 1st March 2022 at the IG Stadium from 9 a.m. onwards. We have more insights on this. Come, let's have a look.
Stadium Rajasthan United FC trial team trial under 18, under 15, under 13 or under 10 football trial organizer.
Yes, it's a blessing for Naga football. We don't get this opportunity like that every time. Someone comes and look at our boys, that's something which most of our organizations, I'm from the NFCA, we try to do this. We hardly get one at the most in a year. So we're getting this after this COVID scare. This is very important for the development of football. Like today is a normal day, but for these kids out here who have turned up, they are reaching 200 is basically one of the most important days of their lives. Today they decide whether, I have a football dream or not. Today my dream breaks or my dream starts. It's big for them. I feel for them. Many will be heartbroken, but
Nagaland joined the whole nation to celebrate the National Science Day on 28 February. Notably, the Thang Students Union collaborated with the Police Department Nagaland to organize the first ever National Science Day cum Inter-Students Union under the theme Integrated Approach in Science and Technology for Sustainable Future. The program was held at Whitehall, Nagaland at 9 a.m. Dr. Pritpal Kaur, IPS, Nagaland, graced the occasion as a special guest. The program was chaired by Geolam Library Secretary, Thang Students Union. Dr. Pritpal Kaur, IPS, SP Nagaland, graced the program as a special guest. The event was divided into two sessions wherein extempore speech competitions and exhibitions were conducted. The first session started with an invocation by Sri Tenguyu, Associate Pastor, Youth, BCT, and meanwhile the short speeches were given by the guest speakers. The program culminated with declaration of results.
The whole world, it was all compacted in a very small ball type of thing, very small. And in 13.7 billions of years ago, the Lord, the scientist of this world, he did an explosion. That explosion is called as Big Bang Theory. Right? I'll be asking the questions in the end, all the schools. 13.7 billions of years ago, a big explosion happened. And that explosion was called as Big Bang Theory. And when
the Rongmai Council Nagaland on Monday inaugurated its guest house at Chungai Zeng Rongmai Colony, Burma Camp, Dimapur. The special guest of the program was MLA and Advisor Department of Power H. Tovihoto IME. The guest house was built under Local Area Development Project. IME, while delivering his speech at the inaugural program, said that the project has been completed due to the contribution of Rongmai people. He further mentioned that the UDA was formed to bring all the parties together and work for Nagas. Under the leadership of CM Rio, the state is going through many developmental transitions and the people are witnessing the truth. 3 years ago, the Nagaland government sanctioned funds of ₹1 crore to each constituency for local area development. However, the elected representatives requested the government to increase the funds and hence the government increased its fund to ₹50 lakhs and called it an iconic project. Meanwhile, these projects are for the better benefit of the rightful citizens.
Was of People's Democratic Alliance with BJP and NDPP and the independents. But under the able and dynamic leadership of our Honorable Chief Minister, Sri Nifirio, all parties could come together and now we are having an opposition-less government. Under his able leadership, a lot of policies and programs, a lot of development, overall development is happening. You are the witness, people are the witness. Now, till 3 years before, the local area development program, the government provides 1 crore for each constituency, but the amount that we get to develop whatever little or humble way for the constituency was not sufficient. So the elected representatives requested that this has to be enhanced. The amount is now too less for the development.
As the first phase of Manipur Assembly elections concluded on Monday, the state witnessed 78.03% voter turnout till 5 p.m. Kangpokpi district reported the highest voter turnout of 82.97%, followed by Impal West with 82.19%. Among other districts, Impal East recorded 76.64%, followed by Churachandpur 74.45%, while Bishnupur registered a voter turnout of 73.44%. Earlier, reportedly, clashes broke out between Congress and BJP supporters in Kaital Manbi after Congress raised allegations of booth capturing. Amid reports of poll disruption, the Election Commission said that it is examining whether or not to continue the polls as an electronic voting machine has been found to have been broken. A total of 173 candidates, including 15 females, are in the fray for the poll. Manipur Chief Minister Nltv is contesting for his traditional home seat, Haengang constituency of Imphal East. Notably, the Chief Minister is seeking the 5th term in Manipur. Amid reports of Manipur poll disruption in Ketalmanbi in Imphal West District, Chief Electoral Officer Rajesh Agarwal on Monday said that the State Election Commission is examining whether or not to continue the polls as an electronic voting machine have been found to have been broken. Agarwal highlighted an incident of poll disruption that have been reported in Ketalmanbi. This has led to a delay in the polling process. The officials are examining whether to continue the polls today or go for a re-poll. Reportedly, clashes had broken out between Congress and BJP supporters in Ketalmanbi after the opposition party raised allegations of booth capturing. A total of 173 candidates, including 15 females, are in the fray for the polls. Manipur Chief Minister Nltv, after casting his vote at Srivan High School in Imphal, expressed confidence that Bharatiya Janata Party will be voted to power in the state. He stated that the BJP is expecting at least 30 out of 38 seats in the first phase. Meanwhile, he also requested the voters to cast their valuable votes and use democratic power given by the Constitution. Singh is contesting from Haengang constituency in Imphal East. Prior to casting his vote, the Chief Minister paid a visit to a local temple and offered prayers. It is to be mentioned that the polling for the first phase of Manipur Assembly elections began in 38 constituencies spread across 5 districts, including Imphal East, Imphal West, Bishnupur, Churachandpur and Kangpokpi on Monday. The polling began at 7 a.m. and concluded at 4 p.m.
My democratic right to elect myself from this constituency, and I am expecting 75% of my constituency, my people will vote for the BJP and for me.
So do you think that this is the first phase election is very competent for you? So a lot of
first phase election we are having 38 seats.
Yeah.
And Bharatiya Janata Party is expecting out of 38 seats we are expecting at least 30 seats in the first phase. Because it is the area which is holding the vote today is the old favorable to the Bharatiya Janata Party, and peoples of Manipur like Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, he got 75% support for him in the street. Heavyweight, just as I have told you, out of this 38 seats, BJP is getting.
The death toll in the mortar explosion that took place in Manipur's Churachandpur on Saturday has gone up to 3. 7 people were injured in the blast and 2 dead in the preliminary reports on Saturday. Lia Sunan Lal was said to be in a critical condition and succumbed to his injuries on Sunday. Siam Boy, Manlidia, Muan Biakun Nuam and Thangbai Klun, injured in the explosion, are currently under treatment at Churachandpur District Hospital. Reporters have suggested that the locals had collected unexploded bombs from the BSF range, which exploded inside on the homes. The district police are investigating on the incident. Market Regulator Securities and Exchange Board of India (SEBI) on Monday announced the appointment of Madhabi Puri Buch as the new chairperson of the board. Madhabi Puri will replace Ajay Tyagi as the new chairperson and hold office for 3 years. Madhabi is a former whole-time member WTM of SEBI and has more than 30 years of experience in the financial markets, handling various portfolios ranging from investment, management, collective investment schemes and surveillance. The Directorate General of Civil Aviation has decided to extend the suspension of scheduled international commercial passenger services to and from India till further orders. However, these restrictions shall not apply to the international all-cargo operations and flights specifically approved by DGCA. Notably, international flights have been suspended in India since March 23, 2020 due to the coronavirus pandemic. However, special passenger flights have been functioning between India and around the countries since July 2020 under air bubble arrangements. Thank you, viewers of Nagaland TV. That's all from Nltv Primetime News. But for more updates, keep watching Nagaland TV. Sab Manulaga Awas.
Nagaland TV, Sab Manulaga Awas. Watch us live on Jio TV and on your television sets as well. For Dimapur viewers, we are on channel number 10 in Global Chapter, and for Kohima and Mokokchung viewers, switch to channel number 13.